I was just eating Doritos when 12 cops pointed their weapons at me. I was sitting on my couch at 3 inches the afternoon on a Tuesday, watching cooking videos and eating Cool Ranch Doritos straight from the family-size bag. That's when I heard the crash of my front door being kicked in. Before I could even process what was happening, there were police officers flooding into my apartment, 12 of them, in tactical gear, with weapons drawn, all shouting different commands at once. Get on the ground, hands where I can see them, don't move. I dropped the bag of Doritos and put my hands up, Dorito dust still on my fingers. My brain couldn't catch up to what was happening. I lived alone in a quiet building in a boring neighborhood. I worked data entry for an insurance company. The most illegal thing I'd ever done was pirate a movie in college. 2 officers grabbed my arms and forced me face down on the carpet while someone zip-tied my wrists behind my back. The orange Dorito dust was getting all over their black gloves. I asked what was happening, but nobody answered. They were searching my apartment, opening every drawer and cabinet, pulling out my belongings and piling them on the floor. One officer was taking photos of everything. Another was on his radio calling for additional units. I watched from the floor as they dismantled my life, still tasting Cool Ranch in my mouth and wondering if I was having some kind of psychotic break. A detective in a gray suit crouched down next to me. His name tag said Foster. He asked if I lived alone and I said yes, which was technically true now. My roommate Tyler had moved out 6 weeks ago after living here for almost a year. Foster asked when I'd last seen Tyler and I said maybe 3 weeks ago when he'd stopped by to grab some mail. Foster's expression changed. He asked if Tyler had left anything behind and I said just some boxes in the storage closet that he was supposed to pick up. Suddenly there were 4 officers in my hallway, opening that closet. I heard one of them curse and call for the detective. Foster stood up and walked over while I stayed zip-tied on my living room floor, surrounded by my scattered belongings and crushed Doritos. Looking back now, I should have paid more attention to the strange things that had been happening. Tyler had always been a little off, working odd hours and never really explaining what he did for work. He'd say something vague about consulting or freelancing and change the subject. In those last few months before he moved out, he'd started getting packages, lots of packages, small boxes with no return addresses that he'd immediately take to his room. Once I'd seen one sitting on the kitchen counter, plain brown packaging with just our address printed on a plain white label. No company name, no sender information. When I'd asked Tyler about it, he'd gotten weirdly defensive and said it was just supplements he ordered online. He'd grabbed the box and disappeared into his room. The visitors started around the same time. People would show up at odd hours, usually late at night. They'd knock in this specific pattern, 3 quick raps followed by 2 slow ones. Tyler would let them in and they'd go straight to his room. I'd hear low voices through the walls but could never make out words. One night I'd gotten up to use the bathroom and saw one of the visitors leaving. He was wearing a suit at 2 inches the morning and carrying a small duffel bag. He'd made eye contact with me in the hallway and his expression had been cold, calculating, like he was assessing whether I was a problem. Tyler had stood in his doorway behind him, watching me. I'd gone back to my room without saying anything. Then Tyler announced he was moving out, said he'd found a better place, gave me a month's notice, and started packing. He'd been gone within 2 weeks, leaving faster than he'd planned. I'd been relieved, honestly. Living with him had become uncomfortable in ways I couldn't quite articulate. Foster came back into the living room. His face was grim. He asked if I had any knowledge of what was in those boxes in my storage closet. I said no, that they were Tyler's stuff and I'd never opened them. That's when Foster told me what they'd found and why there were 12 officers with weapons drawn in my apartment. Foster's face is grim as he stands over me, still zip-tied on my living room floor. The Dorito dust on my fingers has mixed with sweat, creating a sticky orange paste that's drying uncomfortably on my skin. Those boxes in your storage closet, Foster says, crouching down to my level again. They contain fentanyl, nearly 50 kilograms of it. The word hits me like a physical blow. Fentanyl, the drug that's been all over the news, the drug that kills people. That's not possible, I say, my voice cracking. Those are just Tyler's things, books or clothes or something. Foster's expression doesn't change. The street value is approximately $8 million. Your roommate was using your apartment as a stash house. The room seems to tilt around me. $8 million. In my storage closet, where I keep my winter coats and vacuum cleaner. I need you to come down to the station, Foster says, nodding to one of the officers who moves to help me up. We have a lot of questions. They finally cut the zip ties, but immediately replace them with handcuffs. As they lead me through my apartment, I see the boxes from the storage closet laid out on the kitchen counter. They're open now, revealing vacuum-sealed packages of what looks like white powder. A team in hazmat suits is carefully logging and photographing everything. I'm guided through my own front door, past neighbors who have gathered in the hallway to stare. Mrs. Diaz from 3B covers her mouth in shock when she sees me in handcuffs. The college kids from across the hall are filming everything on their phones. In the police car, my phone starts vibrating in my pocket. The officer in the front seat reaches back and takes it from me. Tyler, he reads from the screen, showing it to his partner. That's the roommate. My phone keeps buzzing as we drive to the station. Text after text, call after call, all from Tyler, who hasn't contacted me in weeks. At the police station, I'm led to an interview room with a metal table and uncomfortable chairs. Foster sits across from me, joined by another detective whose name I don't catch. They record my statement as I tell them everything I know about Tyler, which isn't much. Where he worked, something vague about consulting. Friends, none that I met. Family, never mentioned any. Did you ever see him with the packages? Foster asks, sliding photos across the table of the boxes from my closet. No, I say for what feels like the 100th time. He just asked if he could store some stuff temporarily. I never looked inside. And you never thought it was strange? The visitors at odd hours? The knocking pattern? The unmarked packages? When he lays it out like that, it does sound suspicious. But hindsight is always clearer. I just thought he was weird, I say weakly. Lots of people are weird. The questioning goes on for hours. They ask the same questions repeatedly, looking for inconsistencies in my story. But there are none because I'm telling the truth. Eventually, Foster steps out and returns with my phone. 57 missed calls and 32 text messages, he says, placing it on the table. All from Tyler. We'd like you to read them. The texts start panicked and get increasingly desperate. What's happening? Are cops there? Don't tell them anything. This is a mistake. I can explain. Tell them you don't know anything. I'll fix this. The last one sent just 20 minutes ago. They'll kill me if you talk. Indiscreet. Foster watches my face as I scroll through them. Based on these messages and the evidence in your apartment, you are currently a person of interest in a major drug trafficking investigation. I will be. I didn't know, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. I swear I didn't know. We have a surveillance team watching your apartment in case Tyler returns, the other detective says. But for now, we're going to process you. Processing means fingerprints, photographs, and a cell with a metal toilet in full view of anyone walking by. I sit on the thin mattress, still tasting Cool Ranch Doritos, wondering how my life imploded so completely in the span of a few hours. A guard brings me a paper cup of water and tells me I can make a phone call. I call my parents, struggling to explain what's happening without breaking down completely. My mom cries. My dad asks practical questions I don't have answers for. In the holding cell, there's a small TV mounted high on the wall. The evening news is playing, and I freeze when I see my apartment building on the screen. The headline scrolling across the bottom reads, "Major drug bust, millions in fentanyl seized from apartment." They don't show my face or say my name, but they mention the address. Anyone who knows where I live will know it's me. The guard returns an hour later. Your employer called, he says, not making eye contact. Something about administrative leave, effective immediately. Of course, the insurance company I work for has a zero-tolerance policy for anything that might damage their reputation. Being arrested in connection with millions of dollars worth of drugs definitely qualifies. When they finally release me back into the interview room, Foster is waiting with a thick folder. We're not charging you yet, he says, emphasizing the yet. But don't leave town. We'll need you available for further questioning. As I'm gathering my belongings, a man in a suit approaches with an envelope. This is for you, he says coldly. It's an eviction notice from my landlord, effective immediately. The reason cited, criminal activity on premises. But I haven't been charged with anything, I protest. The man shrugs. Doesn't matter. The lease has a morality clause. You have 48 hours to remove your personal items. I'm still staring at the notice when my parents arrive at the station, my father's arm around my sobbing mother. Behind them is a stern-looking woman in an expensive suit who introduces herself as their lawyer. We've posted your bail, my father says, his voice tight with worry, and something that might be disappointment. You're coming home with us tonight. As we walk out of the police station, reporters shout questions and cameras flash. The lawyer shields me with her briefcase while my father guides me to their car. We'll figure this out, my mother whispers, squeezing my hand as we drive away from the station. We know you wouldn't do something like this. I look out the window at the city lights blurring through my tears and wonder if anyone else will believe me. Tyler has destroyed my life, and he's still out there somewhere, while I'm left to face the consequences of boxes I never opened and secrets I never knew. I wake up in my childhood bedroom to the sound of unfamiliar voices downstairs. For a moment, the faded band posters and high school trophies make me feel like the last 24 hours were just a nightmare. But the soreness in my wrists from the handcuffs and the lingering taste of Cool Ranch Doritos in my mouth confirm that everything, the raid, the interrogation, the eviction, was real. We appreciate you taking the case. My father's voice drifts up from the kitchen. The situation is completely absurd. My child wouldn't know fentanyl from fairy dust. I drag myself out of bed and head downstairs. 3 people are seated at our kitchen table. My parents and a woman in a sharp navy suit who isn't the lawyer from yesterday. She stands when I enter. Alex Chen, FBI, she says, offering her hand. I'm leading the federal investigation into your roommate's activities. My stomach drops. FBI? I thought this was a local police matter. Not when we're dealing with 50 kilograms of fentanyl. Agent Chen explains, gesturing for me to sit. This quantity indicates connections to international trafficking. The case has been transferred to our jurisdiction. My mother pushes a mug of coffee toward me. Her eyes are puffy and rimmed with red. I've reviewed your statement to Detective Foster. Chen continues. Your story is consistent with what we know about how cartels operate. They often use unwitting civilians as cover. So you believe me? The relief in my voice is embarrassingly obvious. I believe you were likely unaware of what Tyler was doing, she says carefully. But I need your complete cooperation to prove it. She opens a laptop and turns it toward me. On the screen is a complex diagram with Tyler's name at the center, connected to at least 24 other names and locations. Based on evidence found in your apartment and Tyler's digital footprint, we've been able to map part of his network. We believe he's connected to the Sinaloa cartel. The word cartel makes this suddenly feel much more dangerous than I'd imagined. This isn't just about drugs, Chen explains. It's about an international criminal organization that doesn't hesitate to eliminate problems. People like you. My father's hand grips my shoulder. Are you saying my child is in danger? Chen doesn't sugarcoat it. Potentially, which is why we need to work together. She scrolls through a series of photographs, stopping on a man in an expensive suit. Do you recognize this person? My blood runs cold. It's the man from the hallway, the one who made eye contact with me while waiting outside our apartment. Yes, he came to see Tyler a few weeks ago. I passed him in the hallway. Chen's expression tightens. This is Miguel Fuentes, a known cartel lieutenant. The fact that he was in your building confirms our suspicions about Tyler's connections. The reality of my situation crashes down on me. I wasn't just living with a drug dealer. I was living with someone connected to one of the most dangerous criminal organizations in the world. I need to go to the grocery store, I say suddenly, the mundane thought cutting through the surreal conversation. I have nothing to wear for my job interviews. My mother gives me a sympathetic look. Honey, maybe that should wait. I need to do something normal, I insist. I can't just sit here thinking about cartels all day. Chen nods. I understand. Just be vigilant and call me immediately if anything seems off. She hands me her card with her direct line. 2 hours later, I'm pushing a cart down the cereal aisle, trying to focus on something as simple as breakfast choices instead of international drug trafficking. That's when I notice it. A black SUV with tinted windows that I first spotted in my parents' neighborhood, now parked across from the grocery store entrance. The same vehicle I glimpsed in my rearview mirror on the drive over. I abandon my cart and call Agent Chen, my hands shaking so badly I can barely hold the phone. Black SUV, tinted windows, following me from my parents' house to the Safeway on Maple Street, I whisper, ducking into the pharmacy section. Stay inside where there are witnesses. I'm sending agents now, she responds immediately. As I end the call, my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. You talked. Big mistake. I nearly drop the phone, looking frantically around the store to see if anyone is watching me. By the time FBI agents arrive 10 minutes later, the SUV is gone. Agent Chen meets me inside the store, her face grim as she examines the text message. We need to set up surveillance at your parents' home, she says. This confirms they're monitoring you. We need to set up surveillance at your parents' slash. That evening, a team of agents installs cameras and motion sensors around my parents' house, while Chen shows me more evidence from their investigation. We found a laptop hidden in the ventilation system of your apartment, she explains, opening a folder of documents. Tyler kept detailed records of his transactions. Based on the evidence, he wasn't just a dealer, he was coordinating shipments for the entire Northwest region. She slides over a bank statement with my name on it. They also used your identity for some of their financial transactions. That's why your accounts have been frozen by the Treasury Department. What? I stare at the statement showing transfers of hundreds of thousands of dollars through accounts I've never seen. I don't understand. How could they do this without my knowledge? Identity theft. They probably had access to your personal information through Tyler. It's a common tactic using clean identities to move dirty money. The final blow comes when Chen shows me security footage from a border crossing in Texas. The grainy image clearly shows Tyler getting into a car on the Mexican side of the border 3 days ago. He's in cartel territory now, Chen says, closing her laptop, but we'll find him. In the meantime, you need to stay close to home and follow our security protocols. As I lie in bed that night, listening to FBI agents moving around downstairs, I think about how 6 weeks ago my biggest concern was whether Tyler would remember to pay his share of the utilities before moving out. Now I'm at the center of an international drug investigation with a cartel potentially targeting me. I stare at the ceiling, wondering if I'll ever get my life back, or if Tyler has destroyed it forever with those boxes he left behind, boxes that contained so much more than fentanyl. They contained the end of everything I thought my life was going to be. I've been staying at my parents' house for a week when Agent Chen calls with a proposition that makes my blood run cold. We want to use you as bait, she says, her voice steady through the phone. A controlled operation to draw out Tyler's associates. My father, overhearing my side of the conversation, shakes his head vehemently. Absolutely not, he mouths, reaching for the phone. I turn away from him. What exactly would I have to do? Return to your apartment. We'll have you wired with audio and video surveillance. The cartel believes you know where something is hidden, a flash drive containing transaction records that Tyler kept as insurance. But I don't know anything about a flash drive, I protest. They don't know that, Chen says, and neither did we until we decrypted some of Tyler's messages. We believe there's critical evidence that could help us dismantle their entire Northwest operation. My mother enters the kitchen, concern etching deeper lines around her eyes when she sees my expression. What's happening? I cover the phone. The FBI wants me to help catch Tyler. By putting yourself in danger, my father's voice rises. After everything that's happened? Chen is still talking in my ear. We'll have agents positioned throughout the building. You'll never be unprotected. This could clear your name completely. Those last words hit home. My name. My frozen bank accounts. My evicted apartment. My career in shambles. All because of Tyler and those damn boxes of fentanyl. I'll do it, I say before I can change my mind. The operation is planned for the next day. I sit in a nondescript van 3 blocks from my apartment building, while 2 FBI technicians attach a wire to my chest and a button camera to my shirt. Agent Chen reviews the plan one final time. Just act natural. Go into the apartment like you're retrieving personal belongings before your eviction period ends. We have agents in the building, disguised as maintenance workers, and surveillance teams covering every exit. My hands are trembling as I button my shirt over the wire. What if Tyler actually shows up? That's unlikely. Our intelligence suggests he's still in Mexico. Chen hands me a set of keys. But if he does contact you, try to keep him talking. The more information we get, the better. The walk to my apartment building feels surreal. Neighbors avoid eye contact as I enter the lobby. The elevator ride is silent except for Chen's voice and the tiny earpiece they've given me. Remember, we're right here with you. Just breathe. Inside my apartment, everything is exactly as the police left it, drawers open, furniture askew, the lingering smell of chemicals from the forensic team. I move through the room slowly, gathering clothes and personal items as instructed, all while narrating what I see for the FBI team listening in. I'm in the living room now, I say quietly, moving toward the bedroom. That's when my phone rings. Unknown number. I look toward the window, knowing Chen can see my hesitation through the camera. Answer it, her voice instructs through my earpiece. Speakerphone. My finger trembles as I accept the call. Hello? Don't say my name. Tyler's voice fills the room, and my stomach drops. Are you alone? I glance toward the window, where I know cameras are watching. Yes, I'm coming to the apartment. I need to explain everything. This wasn't supposed to happen. Chen's voice is urgent in my ear. Keep him talking. Ask when he'll be here. When? I manage to ask, my throat suddenly dry. I thought you were in Mexico. Tyler laughs, a hollow sound. That's what they're supposed to think. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Don't leave. And don't call anyone. The line goes dead. Immediately, Chen's voice fills my ear. We're mobilizing now. Stay exactly where you are. This changes everything. But before I can respond, there's a knock at the door, 3 quick taps, followed by 2 slower ones. The pattern Tyler's visitors always used. Someone's here, I whisper, frozen in place. Do not open that door, Chen orders. Our team is still getting into position. The knocking comes again, more insistent. Then a voice deep, accented. Open the door. We know you're in there. It's not Tyler. I breathe into the wire. It's someone else. Stall them, Chen instructs. We need 2 more minutes. The door handle jiggles, and I realize with horror that whoever is outside has a key. I back away, looking frantically for somewhere to hide, but it's too late. The door swings open to reveal a man I recognize from Chen's photographs. Miguel Fuentes, the cartel lieutenant, wearing an expensive suit just like the day I passed him in the hallway. Where is it? He demands, stepping inside and closing the door behind him. The flash drive. Tyler says you have it. I don't know what you're talking about. I stammer, backing away until I hit the wall. Fuentes moves toward me, his hand reaching inside his jacket. Don't lie to me. We know Tyler gave it to you for safekeeping. I swear I don't have anything. We barely spoke before he moved out. His eyes narrow, scanning the apartment. Then we'll tear this place apart until we find it. Through my earpiece, Chen's voice is tense. Team moving in now. Keep him talking. Why is this flash drive so important? I ask, trying to sound curious rather than terrified. Fuentes smiles coldly. Because it contains evidence that would destroy people much more powerful than you or me. He pulls out a gun. Last chance. Where did Tyler hide it? The door bursts open before I can answer. FBI, hands up! Agent Chen leads a team of agents into the apartment, weapons drawn. What happens next is chaos. Fuentes fires his weapon. Agents return fire. I dive behind the couch as bullets tear through my apartment. Glass shatters. Someone shouts in pain. I curl into a ball, hands over my ears, certain I'm about to die in the crossfire. When the shooting stops, I peek over the edge of the couch to see Fuentes on the ground, blood pooling beneath him. Agent Chen kneels beside me. Are you hurt? She asks, eyes scanning me for injuries. I shake my head, unable to form words. We need to move, she says, helping me to my feet. Tyler could still be on his way. As agents secure the apartment, Chen explains what they've learned. Tyler was a confidential informant for the DEA. He was supposed to be gathering evidence against the cartel, but he went rogue, started skimming product and profits while playing both sides. So he betrayed everyone, I say, the pieces finally clicking into place. Exactly, and now he's desperate because both the cartel and federal agencies want him. We're halfway to the FBI vehicle when my phone buzzes with a text. It's from Tyler. Saw cops. Deal's off. You're dead. Chen reads it over my shoulder. He was watching the building. This is good. It means he's still in the area. 3 hours later, I'm sitting in an FBI field office when Chen enters with news. We got him. Tyler was arrested trying to cross into Canada with fake identification. He had the flash drive on him. The relief that washes over me is so intense I nearly collapse. So it's over? Chen sits across from me. Almost. Tyler is offering a full confession in exchange for witness protection. He's claiming he was forced into working with the cartel, but the evidence suggests otherwise. Will my name be cleared? I ask. The question that's been haunting me since this began. Yes, we've already notified the Treasury Department to unfreeze your accounts, and we'll provide documentation to your employer clearing you of any wrongdoing. She hesitates. But I should warn you, your life won't just go back to normal. Cases like this leave marks. I think about my apartment, now a crime scene for the second time, my neighbors who look at me with fear and suspicion, my job that placed me on administrative leave. The news reports that all but named me as a drug trafficker. What happens now? I ask. Tyler will be processed and debriefed. We'll need your testimony eventually. But for now, you should focus on rebuilding. It won't be easy. As I leave the FBI building that evening, I realize Chen is right. Tyler is caught, my name is cleared, but my life remains in shambles. The boxes he left behind contained more than just fentanyl. They contained the destruction of everything I'd built, leaving me to pick up the pieces of a life that no longer feels like mine. The federal courthouse is a fortress of concrete and security checkpoints. I've passed through 2 metal detectors already, and the bailiff still eyes me suspiciously as I take my seat in the witness box. The prosecutor, a severe woman named Elaine Winters, with perfectly straight bangs and a navy suit, approaches with a gentle smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Can you identify the defendant? She asks, gesturing toward the defense table. Tyler sits there in an orange jumpsuit, thinner than I remember, his once stylish haircut grown out unevenly. When our eyes meet, he quickly looks away. It's been 4 months since the shootout in my apartment, 4 months since Agent Chen arrested him at the Canadian border, and he still can't look me in the face. Yes, I say, my voice carrying through the microphone. That's Tyler Matthews, my former roommate. The trial has been going for 2 weeks, but today is my day to testify. I explain everything. The mysterious packages with no return addresses, the visitors with their specific knocking pattern, the man in the suit who made eye contact in the hallway. I describe finding the boxes in the storage closet, the Dorito dust on my fingers mixing with sweat as Detective Foster questioned me on my living room floor. Did the defendant ever tell you what was in those boxes? Winters asks. No. He just asked if he could store some stuff temporarily. I never looked inside. In the gallery, I spot my parents sitting rigidly in the 3rd row. My father nods encouragement while my mother clutches her purse with white knuckles. Behind them, I notice 2 men I've never seen before, watching me with cold calculation. One whispers to the other, and I feel my heart rate spike. Agent Chen notices too. She's sitting at the prosecution table, and I see her discreetly signal to a marshal near the door. The men are quietly approached and asked for identification. Tyler's defense attorney, a slick operator named Buchanan with an expensive watch and practiced smile, begins his cross-examination by suggesting I must have known what was happening. 50 kilograms of fentanyl worth approximately $8 million was stored in your apartment, and you expect this court to believe you had no idea? He asks, eyebrows raised in theatrical disbelief. I worked data entry for an insurance company. I respond, the frustration bubbling up. I came home, ate Cool Ranch Doritos, and watched Netflix. I wasn't exactly living a life of crime. A few jurors smile at this, which Buchanan notices with a flash of annoyance. The trial stretches on for 3 more days. I'm not allowed in the courtroom after my testimony, but Agent Chen keeps me updated. The cartel members who threatened my family during the proceedings were detained but released for lack of evidence. They were sending a message, we know where you are. We're watching. When the verdict comes back guilty on all counts, I'm sitting in a safe house 20 miles outside the city. Chen arrives with the news and another proposition. The witness protection program can have you relocated by the end of the week, she says, sliding a folder across the table. New identity, new location, fresh start in Arizona. The cartel doesn't forgive people who testify against them. I flip through the documents, looking at the details of my potential new life. A small apartment in Phoenix, a job at another insurance company doing similar work, a new name that sounds nothing like me. What if I refuse? I ask. Chen's expression tightens. That would be extremely unwise. These people have long memories and longer reach. This is my life, I say, pushing the folder back. I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not going to spend the rest of my days looking over my shoulder with a fake name because of boxes Tyler left in my storage closet. She doesn't try to argue, just nods like she half expected this response. Then we'll provide a security detail for 6 months after the sentencing. After that, you're on your own. Sentencing happens 2 weeks later. I watch from the back of the courtroom as the judge delivers 15 years in federal prison to the man who destroyed my life with his secrets. Tyler doesn't react, just stares straight ahead as the marshals lead him away. My landlord calls the next day, his tone noticeably warmer than when he served me the eviction notice. In light of recent developments, he says carefully, we'd like to offer a settlement for the wrongful eviction. The amount he mentions would cover 6 months' rent in a new place, which feels both insulting and like a lifeline. My lawyer, the stern woman my parents hired, advises me to take it and move on. Moving on proves easier said than done. My old company won't rehire me despite my name being cleared too much baggage, they say, without actually saying it. But strangely, other offers start coming in. Security firms, risk management companies, even a private investigation agency all reach out with positions that pay better than data entry ever did. They want your experience, Agent Chen explains when I call her, confused by the sudden interest. You've seen how these organizations operate from the inside. That's valuable. 6 months after Tyler's sentencing, I start an advocacy group for people like me, innocent roommates and family members caught in the crossfire of someone else's crimes. We meet in a community center every Tuesday night, sharing stories and resources. Sometimes Agent Chen stops by with advice on navigating the legal system. The FBI security detail ends exactly as promised at the 6-month mark. The day after they leave, I find myself constantly checking windows and jumping at unexpected sounds. But slowly, the hypervigilance fades. Life develops a new normal. A year after the trial, I request permission to visit Tyler in prison. The warden makes me wait 3 weeks before approving, and when I finally sit across from Tyler in the visitation room, neither of us speaks for nearly a full minute. Why did you come? He finally asks, his voice rougher than I remember. I needed to see you, I say simply, to understand. He looks older, with new lines around his eyes and a scar along his jaw that wasn't there before. Prison hasn't been kind to a man who betrayed both a cartel and the FBI. I never meant for you to get involved, he says, not quite an apology. I thought I'd be gone before anyone connected the dots. 50 kilograms of fentanyl, Tyler, in our storage closet, where I kept my winter coats. He winces. I was in too deep by then, couldn't see a way out. We talk for the full hour allotted. He tells me about his initial recruitment as a confidential informant, how the money and power gradually corrupted him, how he convinced himself he was smarter than both the cartel and the feds. I tell him about the advocacy group, about rebuilding my life from the wreckage he left behind. As our time ends and the guard approaches to take him back, Tyler looks at me directly for the first time. I'm sorry, he says, and the simplicity of it after everything that's happened makes me laugh. 15 years too late, I reply, but there's no real anger left in it. Just exhaustion and something like closure. Walking out of the prison, I realize I'll never fully understand how someone I lived with for 2 years could have hidden so much from me. But maybe understanding isn't the point. Maybe moving forward is all that matters past the boxes in the storage closet, past the Dorito dust and police gloves, past the life that was taken from me, and toward the one I'm building in its place.